Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and we are down here on what I've affectionately called the low road because it's a low elevation in my property. Between us and over there, which is another woods road, there's a little brook that runs. In fact, I actually saw it run here in the last couple days because we've had some warm weather. It's been a couple weeks since we've been out here last. Had lots of family gatherings and fun time in the last couple weeks, so it's all been good. And we've had a lot of change in the weather. We had some really warm weather, we had some rain, and the last couple days it turned really cold again. It was actually quite blustery up there in the field on our way in, but down here in the shelter of the hills and the trees, it's nice. We have to deal with the cold. It is about 17, 18 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like minus 6 or 7 Celsius. So it's not that cold. As long as the wind is not here, it's actually comfortable to work in. So I'm on this low road doing some cleanup because I don't often have access down here because the last several years it's just been not cold enough. So you can see here, the road is in really good condition. I packed it down. We had the warm and a little bit of rain, so it actually made some channels. There's actually water down there. But you can see here, that's probably about 8 inches of, really, it's just ice now. It was a nicely packed down road. We got the warm weather and rain, and now it's just ice. So even when we do have warmer weather, this road, I'm guessing the frost is deeper in the road here than it normally is, and deeper than it is, say, out in the field or even off the road, because of that lack of insulation, that the road will last longer into the spring. So I'm hoping I'll have access out here for still several more weeks. So one of the last times we were out here, cut down some cedar right over here. In fact, you can see some of the logs poking their heads out in the snow. Right over there. I'm guessing this has probably been a hard winter for the deer because every time I cut, in fact they've come back several times now, you can see all the footprints. This is all cedar leaves, cedar needles, browse for them, and it is nearly all gone. They've left just a little bit here and there. Maybe to come back and get later, I'm not sure, but I think we'll probably provide a bit more food for them today. I'm guessing they'll be thankful for that. As far as the brook, now we've had a little bit of snow and the colder weather, so the brook is probably more hidden again. I think it might actually be right under where we're standing. It's not that big. So I have some cedar to clean up, and I had sort of focused on the cedar because I was under the gun time-wise. Not because of the road thawing out and access, but because the mill that I first thought I was going to sell the cedar to stopped taking material at the end of February, and now we're into March. So once I realized that it was impossible for me to get the material out here because at the time the snow was so deep and I just couldn't come down here with anything to get it out, I had to change plans. So that new plan means selling it to a different mill. They accept logs all year round, but their requirements are a larger log. So some of these bigger ones, as long as they're 8 feet long, their minimum is 6 inches. That's the big end. This is the small end. So that's well over 6 inches. And most of these here from this bunch here work with their bigger logs. But there are some others that I had cut along here and elsewhere that will now just be trashed because they don't meet the minimum 6-inch requirement. The other place I was selling to does a lot of fence. In fact, I think that's all they do is fence material. So they will accept down to a 4-inch diameter and down to a 6-foot log, where now I'm a 6-inch diameter and an 8-foot log, as well as 10 and 12 foot. So that takes the time crunch off of me. The only time crunch now is just to make sure I get this material available and out before this road turns to sloppy mess, which it will later in the spring. So I'm not going to be focused just on cedar this time around, but anything that I can take out that I want to take out or should be taken out, just because I'm not sure when I'll have access down here again. So I'll look around here, figure out what I want to take down for some of these cedars, which are sort of blown over. They're tilted, tipped into another tree, and we'll come back. So I started cleaning up some around here. I did fall through the ice here. I'm pretty sure even though there's water down there. I think this is just sort of part of the floodplain. I think the brook meanders in this little valley back and forth, and I just can't remember where it's over here and where it's over there. I think it's more or less in the middle. But there was water here at one point. It's sort of hollow underneath, so what I'm guessing is the cold weather froze the top, and then as the cold weather continued, the runoff subsided. All the water underneath was sort of evacuated and left a hollow spot. You can see there. So most of what I took down are real small trees, sort of in and around there. I'm just going to save the best trees, try to leave a single stem per root. All kinds of deer browse there now. So even though this one's at quite an angle, it looks like a healthy tree, I'll leave it. This one is dead. I kind of doubt I'm going to get much of a log out of it, but I want to take it down anyhow. And even though this one here is alive, you can see it sort of bent over, and then probably 15 years ago it saw the light and started to shoot straight back up again. But this looks like it would almost died. It's almost like there's new growth sort of wrapping around the old bark, so I doubt there'll be anything good there either. So I'll take those two down, and then we get this to look at. Another instance, or I might have shown this one before, with the blue paint. When I had commercial cutting done here about 12 years ago, this was intended to be taken. And there are a couple down here in this sort of little valley. I'm guessing when the logger was going to do this area, it was just too wet for him, just like it is for me. So I need to think about that. I may take this down. I'm thinking this might be good enough for a saw log rather than a pasture spruce, even though it is white spruce. But it was marked, so I'm guessing it was marked because it was merchantable. So if I take that down, that will allow this cedar more light, but I don't know to what extent the cedar is leaning on this. You can see both of them are sort of leaning to the left. So if I took this down, is that just going to make this uproot? I'm almost thinking that's the case. This is leaning pretty hard. And like a lot of them down here in this sort of real wet, sort of constantly saturated soil, it's just not a good root base for any tree. I'm surprised I have so many of these spruce that have grown large and straight and tall without blowing down. So I think I'll take the cedar down, probably up there. There should be a couple good logs, and work our way back. But to begin with, let's take down these, which are probably just junk trees, and see what they look like. So this one, the base is free. It's just hung up in there, so that'll need some help coming down. And this one, sort of as I expected, because there was some evidence here on the surface. So you can see, looks like the original tree was just about on its deathbed, and then something happened to spur some growth, and it's almost like it's sort of wrapping itself around here to try to heal. But not good for a log, but the top will be good for deer. So I'll clean this up, cut the tops up, and then we'll come and drag this down and see what we have left. Well, that would have actually appeared sound, but I'm not familiar enough with the cedar markets to know if that could be sellable as a log, even though the wood is sound. The tree's probably been dead for several years. Alright, so that area it looks good. This one is that tree that I was looking at leaning against the white spruce, and I'm going to take that down. Try to figure out where I'll take it out. Could take it out here, but as you can see, there is a blowdown. I don't know if it's an uprooted tree or what it is, but if it's a good log, I'll take it out. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it looks like that big hump of dirt is the root. It was probably a sizable tree. It's a fir, but it's buried in the snow quite deeply. Let's take a little walk down there and see what it looks like. Right here, I can see the stream now, but we are cutting right over there. I don't know if the stream goes this way and to the right, or the left, or both, but you can see it meander here, goes around there, goes under here. So it looks like when that tree came down, it took a cedar with it, which was alive, but the needles that were within reach have been eaten. Yeah, we've lost a fair amount of snow, but it is still hard getting around. That is a sizable spruce tree. Look at that guy. Well, for here. Other parts of the country is probably a sapling. Yeah, look at the size of that root ball. It's not deep because the water is so wet down there. The soil's so wet, the water's so shallow. The roots don't grow deep, they grow out. So there seems to be a sizable fir tree in there, as well as a decent sized cedar. Yeah, the question is how to get it out. So what I think I'll do for now, might actually help uncover that, is I'll cut this tree down and then actually drag it over that tree and see what happens. Yeah, I put the wedge in there to try to prevent my saw from being pinched if I was to cut the stem off. As it turned out, and I needed to cut a little bit off the other end. So it didn't pinch my saw. That's fine, but I'll drag it out now. Position my tractor over there and try to drag it over that tree and see if I can't loosen that thing up. Well, that answers the question about trying to jar loose this fir. That ain't happening. But I still need to get that down, so I'm just going to have to reposition my tractor and haul it down probably out that way. Change of plans. So I can't drag it out this way very well. There's no need to take these trees down. They may end up being something in the future. This is on the opposite side of that spruce tree. So what I think I'll do is just use the push plate of my tractor and try to access this. Underneath here I do have a log that I cut several years ago and was not able to retrieve. That's this one. That's sort of what it's laying on. But I think if I can access that, then I'll just cut it off, because this tree here is not going to be big enough in diameter to have anything salvageable up this way anyhow. So I'll still try to drag it out that way. Guess there was a pile of wood pieces there that I had forgotten about. Not that I'd remember where they were, just buried. So it's obvious here, once you get off the hard packed road, you get into unfrozen mud again. Same sort of thing over here. Get off the road and it sinks in a bit. So this should be easily accessible now. I'll just cut up the remnants of that old forgotten log, the treetop here, and just get a path for me to bring it out directly where we're standing. Alright, well, let's limit up and see what I can get for straight 8-foot or better logs. You can tell with this this butt end here, it's curved a bit. I don't think that's a big deal, but where it has this crook up here. So I measured it, and 8 feet comes to right about there. I need 4 to 6 inches of trim, which will bring it up to here. So I'll cut it there and see. It might still be a good 8-foot log. If not, it's just going to be waste. So probably will be a deduction for the sweep as far as the diameter goes. What that means is if you draw a straight line here roughly, you know, sort of ignoring the natural flare, say you have an inch or 2 inches of a curve to it in the middle. If that's a 10-inch log, you subtract 1 or 2 inches and just call it a 8 or 9-inch log. So that's how those deductions work. So I might as well bring this with me, and if nothing else, I'll just give it to them if for some reason they don't want to pay for it. So the next one, I'll probably get some good material out of that. I will cut up here and waste a little bit to get rid of this little bit of a crook, and then relatively straight log from there. So with this tree, I got that one 8-foot log, and I only cut the other one at 8 foot because there was quite a crook in it. Not a crook, but a sweep. And I just thought it was too much for, say, a 10 or a 12-foot log. And the third log, I didn't have quite enough diameter to make another 8-footer. So unfortunately, that just goes to waste. There's plenty of deer food here. Much cleaner in there. Hopefully more light for the trees that I left to grow a bit healthier. Alright, so you can see here we're just down the road a bit for our next site. Oh gosh, I still go up to my knees in some places in the snow. The tractor's right there. This is that uprooted tree that we looked at a bit ago. Actually get a better view of it from this side. So another leaner. I'll probably take both of these trees down. These cedars, and okay, so this is the other. Oh, this is a different one. So this is a different, this looks like a cedar, although it looks dead. I can't tell. There's some dead branches up there, some live ones. Obviously that one up top is dead, but this big one on bottom might be sound. Okay, I thought we were looking at that. So this will provide me a good opportunity if I don't lose myself to get that, which you can see from here looks like a nice fir, and based on the health of the needles at the top, it probably was a nice tree growing right up there. Okay, well this will provide better access, much better than I thought I was going to have. So I'll take down these two cedars, a relatively clear lane to the road there, and just peck away at this stuff. Well, similar to the other ones, and probably every cedar tree that's leaning, like these are, it's going to be a challenge to get a straight log out. And I think, unfortunately, with this one, there's too much of a crook right there, so I really can't include the butt end. So I'll probably have to cut it here, and hopefully get at least an 8, maybe a 10-foot log in that little straight section before it curves again to the left. So it's better than nothing. Better than it all going to waste. So I'll cut that out. The cedar's light enough, I'll just drag that out by hand. And then we'll tackle this larger tree, which might yield a bit more in the way of sellable logs. So this one here is almost certain to get caught up in whatever's up there. I'll try to drop it to the left as much as I can with the hinge, but in either case should be able to drag the butt end out from where my tractor is. wasn't too bad. So I notched the or cut the corner of that stump off so I can hopefully get by it easily with the when I drag it out. Let's give it a try. So you can see here, most of the log is straight except the butt end. It tears off to the right there just before the tractor. So looks like I'll probably lose about 4 or 5 feet. And then I should be able to get a couple good logs up to here. So I was able to get a 10-foot and an 8-foot, and they both look like really good logs. So now I just have a bunch of cleanup to do to see what I have for access, see what I can drag out. So I'll probably put you on time lapse and let you watch me do that. So I have that dead, which I'm guessing is a dead cedar on top there, which I cut off there. But I think the best thing to do is tie a cable to it and haul it off. That should take care of the snow. Then I can cut it up into pieces, throw it off to the side, and then see if this bottom cedar is any worth to it. And then get to the guys over there. Well, that cleaned things up a bit over there. I'll just cut this up, make sure it's out of my way, and then see what I can do here. When I was cutting that dead tree on top, I cut a little bit into this, hopefully not too far, because that looks like a really nice cedar log, as long as it's not rotten in the center, which cedar sometimes can be. That'll be the best log I think I've ever taken out as far as cedar goes. So I got that all cleaned up. So I think I was able to sever the bottom of this without digging into the ground too much. There might have been a little bit of dirt I uncovered. But right there, it's in the water up here, so it might be frozen. The closest down to the butt I could get the cable easily was right there. So we'll see if I can jar it loose, hopefully break it free from the stump. If that's the case, we'll be home free. If not, then I'm not sure what I'll do. Well, from where I was, it didn't appear to budge at all. So either that's frozen in there fairly well right there, or it's still attached right there, or both. Well, one option I have is to sacrifice a little bit of that butt material, cut it right here, maybe where I started to cut it anyhow. Maybe that was what do they call that sort of thing in literature, precursor or foreshadowing or something like that. I think that's what I'll do. It's only about 4.5 feet or so. I'll cut it right there, see if that'll let loose then. Well, there was some dirty looking sawdust that came out. It didn't appear as though I damaged the chain too much if I did, so let's see if that'll break free. Well, that didn't budge either. Probably put a nice kink in my cable. Well, the other thing I could try is clean up the top end, which is right there. Maybe pull it out that way from the top. I don't have much of the choice. I'm not going to have good success getting into there without this being gone, I don't think. Alright. Well, I'm going to save that for the next time I'm out here. It's a good time to go back to the house and have some coffee. So this is the top end of that same log. Cleaned it all up. It does not look like it was live. Same sort of situation. It's still sound wood, but that plus looking at the branches, this was not live anytime recently. But I still want to get it out of the way. There's our big fir, and what might be another cedar on the other side. Well, let's see if I can pull it out this way, get the cable hooked up, see what happens. There were quite a few large branches frozen to the ground, so I'm guessing that might have been, at least in part, what was holding it back. But if for whatever reason this doesn't come out, I'm just going to cut it up, leave it right there, and then drag this, hopefully drag this over that. Well, that's not happening, so it's just going to be cut up and laid to rest right there while I'm in the area. This cedar here, which has a broken top, I'll take that down. But the rest of them in here look fine. Oh, there's some bowed ones. Nice straight ones though too. Alright, well, I'm not going to film this. I'm just going to take this down, cut it into whatever I can get for a log. Put the tractor back over there, and then see what I can do with that one. Same sort of situation here. I'll probably try to take what I can from the butt end, cut it, and then I may end up taking some from the top end out that away. There's a lot of snow. We'll do what we can. So I have a path blazed here. Not sure how I'm going to tackle this, but the first thing I'm going to do is cut that off and just see what happens to that tree. If I could, I'd like to drag it out top end. The road's over there. I don't know if that's in the cards. My 16-inch bar is not quite long enough to get through that, so I need my other one. Well, now we know what'll happen when I let it loose. Looks like a little bit of butt rot there. So I'll cut it back a little bit. Still not sure what I'm going to do because I can't pull this out much because I have those cedars in the way. But I might attach it here. Maybe I can break it loose up there and have a better chance of dragging it out that way. That'll be my... I think that'll be my plan anyhow, but since this dropped quite a bit, maybe what I can do while I'm here is take this cedar out. I'll get my cable, wrap it around there, cut that off, and hopefully drag it over top of this fir in that direction. Alright, so I cut that free. I cut a cookie out of it, just, well, one, to make sure it wasn't like all rotted in the center, and it's not. But also to give it some clearance when I pull it out so it doesn't jam against the root of the stump. So it had a fork at the top. So this log here is probably only 20 feet long. So there's still some stuff holding it up. I'm assuming they're small enough branches or I'll just break them free. I'm not sure it gives me any more clarity to that big fir. But it came out okay. You can see from here, it's another one of those sweepy ones, so it's probably growing sort of at an angle. So same story here. I'll probably have to sacrifice the lower part where it's a bit straighter up here. Try to get at least maybe a 10-foot log. Well, I did have a little bit of butt rot. You can see it there just in the very center, but it cleaned up, well, after about 4 feet. A little bit of punkiness here as it got to this area here where it forked off. But I think that's sound, that's good. So yeah, it just ended up with an 8-foot log, but better than nothing. Alright, it is getting dark, probably sunsets here within the next hour or so. I'm gonna have to sleep on that. That'll be another video, something to look forward to. Try to figure out how to get that out. I'll drag that roadside and we'll be done for the day. So I appreciate you hanging out in the woods with me today. Hope you join me again next time. Thank you, I appreciate it.